So I've kept it pretty nice. So it's been on there for about 6 years. It sounds like good. But once it starts to look anything like this, it's time to say goodbye. You can see like all the dents. You can feel it, like a bunch of acne scars. All right, cool. So at this point, we've kind of checked all the screws inside of here, tightened it up. I might take another round, just kind of go through, just because, you know, might as well. What else is cool is the drum smells really nice. It smells like mahogany, like fresh cut wood. And so if you ever just, you know, just smell it a little bit, it smells good. All right, so next thing, don't just go around and sniff drums, but I sometimes. Okay, so we have now released, and I'll come back to this in a minute. We've released the batter head. This normally is now a Frisbee. You could throw it away, but we're going to save it. I'm going to come back and clean this in just a second. Now we're going to release the snare from the snare strainer and release the snare head. Okay, this right here, let's see what this is called. It's called the snare tension adjustment knob. You can call it just a clutch. Basically what it does is it's on an off position now, meaning the snares are hanging below. They're not touching the head. It's in an on position when you flick up, and now the snares are active. What that means is when I strike this drum on the batter head, it activates the air inside this drum, vibrates the bottom head, which in turn vibrates the snares that are on top, and they shake really, really fast, and it gets that sound, air. Cool. What we're going to do is release this. Here's a good rule of thumb. Try your best never to release it from here. Try your best never to release it from the snare adjustment knob. Why? It's already set in a nice position. Once you release it, these strings come out, and it's really hard to find the perfect blend of like how close this should be to the head, all of those things. So what I do is I release the opposite side. Once I release this with just the drum key, these cords are going to just kind of come free. I'm going to memorize where the clamp has clamped them down. So you can kind of tell, if you were closer, that the clamp has clamped these bad boys down, and it's going to leave an imprint. So I'm going to memorize where that is. You can pretty much see it, and I'm going to try to replicate that when I put it back in. If you're unhappy with the snare tension, we can talk about that in just a second. So I'm going to release the opposite side. No. Yes. Yeah, you remember that. Yes. Okay? So, not that key. No. Not this key either. My students are the best, guys. I mean, I've already loosened them just that strong. So, I'm loosening it now. You don't need to take this off. You just need to get it to where you can release this. And you can see it's been clamped right there. It's kind of nasty looking. It looks like it's been charred. Now release the snares. Okay, so these are snares. They originally, back in the day, were pig gut, or cow gut. They were huge. They were like this big. You would have 3 or 4 or 5 of them. When we got into the 1900s, 2000s, we started using metal just for safety purposes, or not safety, consistency purposes. So just like these were made of gut, heads were made of skin. And the temperature in the room would change the tension on the head. If it's too humid, it would get too tight or too loose. If it's too hot, it would like stretch really, really tight. Same thing with the gut snares. If it got too hot, they would rip and break. They would dry out. So we went to these, more consistent, louder sound. It's metal. There are thousands of kinds of coated cable. You can have curly wire, which is what this is. You can coat this in any sort of plastic or rubber. They do that. They have like shoe tire? Did I just say that? Tire material, like rubber from a tire that runs across there that gives like this kind of like, if you imagine a rubber band that snaps against a table, it sounds like that, which is kind of cool. They have everything you could ever want. Just go for this, curly wire. That's what I would recommend. All right, now I'm going to repeat the process that I did for the batter head on the snare head. I'm going to use the same method going across. However, because I'm going to reuse this head, I'm going to be very careful. This is where you should really pay attention. This head is only 2 or 3 millimeters thick. Just let that sink in. That's how thick this head is. It's that thin so air can vibrate and the snares can vibrate. It's the thinnest head on any drum. So like, if you go to the store and you say, I need a new snare head, chances are they're going to give you a batter head. But if you said, I need a snare side head, it's going to be super, super thin. And when I take them off, you can feel how thin it is. It's going to sound like paper. It's even thinner than that. So be really, really careful when you're undoing it. If you start to see bubbles or like ripples like that, stop, go to another lug, loosen it up till that bubble's gone. Does that make sense? Let's give it a shot. I already start to see them. I've only turned it like half a turn. I don't know if you can see this, but you see these bubbles here? Those are what we need to watch out for. So I'm going to, yep, all right. Hang on a little bit. It's going to be okay. This is a scary part for real. If this breaks, you're at $40. Because apparently that's how much heads are now. It's insane.
How much are batter heads?
Same thing. Yeah. So when I was like in high school, this might date me a little bit. This was like $7 or $8, and I'm not that old.
Seriously?
Yes. So I used to buy heads, maybe $10 at the most. $10. Yeah. No lie. Like I wish that's only like I graduated in 06. So yeah. So it's gone up. I went to the store here, like when I first got here, and I was like, cool, I just needed a batter head. It was $32. I was like, what's happening right now? But I got it because support local business. But anyway, now it's like a wrinkled mess. We're okay. It's as loose as it possibly can. And I'm just going to take them off.
Dr. Dobbs?
Yes, sir.
What happens if you don't see the bubbles and you keep like loosening that lug? Like what happens next?
It could rip on that side. So like when the bubbles and stuff start to happen over here, it means there's too much tension over here. So if that happens, you start to loosen this up and there's still too much tension here, you get like too much and just wrinkle itself. Like really old skin. Like really, really old skin. Don't give me fire. I don't know if that's appropriate. Yeah, we're good on time. So what head is this? Snare side head, yeah. On your sheet it just says snare head. Why is it called snare head?
For the snares.
Yeah. Why is that called batter head? I didn't say this, but this is called the hoop. Also known as the rim. And here it calls it the counter hoop. It's called the hoop. Is anyone going to go check out the saxophone stuff today? Reason Jasmine, you're playing. What time is that?
The concert starts at 7 tonight.
Okay. Cool. All right, so I think I've released all the tension. I'm going to raise this off the same way I did that. And help me remember that this right here is the top, and this right here is going to be the bottom, okay? So I'm going to raise this up. Remember, the snares are still connected. We're going to slide through this little hole in the counter hoop. Don't fear anything. Good thing with this is there's holes in it to let the snares through. Cool. Now, here's the snare side head. See how thin this is? Just go ahead and touch that. Want to feel it? You can pass it around. Everyone's doing it. Try not to like grab it. Just grab it by the rim. There you go. Cool. Now what's interesting is on the bottom of the drum, there's going to be a lot of hair, a lot of dust already I see all that because it's getting trapped from the top head falling down. So we're going to take this rag, go around the bearing edge here, and clean this bad boy. Cool. Since I've checked everything, we're pretty good. Now, here's the next step. We're going to rebuild the snare from the ground up. We'll start with the snare side head and put it together. At this point, your drum is no longer a drum. It's just a hoop. It's just a shell. It's super, super thin. This is all it is. A really expensive, like Frisbee. That's all it is. What's really cool is you can examine it. I look for any cracks. I check for any markings around the bearing edge. If you run your hands around this and you get a splinter, you need to take that to a person right away. Not the splinter, but you need to take this drum into a shop. Forget your hand. There's something wrong with the drum. So you don't want anything to be poking out here because it will poke straight through the head immediately. Like there's just thin plastic laying against this. So we check it. Yes, sir.
Why is the bottom shaped the way it is, like a slight indentation on the side?
I'm not sure what you mean.
You can see a little
Yeah, it's like
dip
a-
warped.
So right here, that's where the snares are.
Okay,
Like this.
so it makes it easier for,
I guess that's why they did it. Every drum is not created equal, so I'm not sure why that's there. If it's doing this, let's see if it's going to do it. If it was like going crazy like this, that means the drum is out of round. You know, the other way you can do it is set it on a super, super flat surface and touch it. If it's bouncing back and forth, that means your hoop is, this is out of round. That happens a lot with wood drums, especially for band directors that travel, because it'll